These are the 5 players the Mariners need to target via trade this winter. Colby, hit it.
You are Locked On Mariners, your daily Seattle Mariners podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Ahoy, sailors, and it's Tuesday, December 2nd, 2025. You're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. My name is Titan Gonzalez, and I'm joined as always by my co-host Colby Patnode. We're 2 lifelong Mariners fans who've been covering the team for over half a decade, and on today's show, it's Top 5 Tuesday. Colby's going to give you his top 5 trade targets for the Mariners, and I'll list my 5 favorite bullpen entrances in baseball. Before we get into all that, I want to shout out our title sponsor today, FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Some minor Mariners news here this morning. Mariners have officially been awarded the second highest competitive balance round B pick in next year's draft. That is a tradable pick, and it's one that we assumed the Mariners were going to be awarded when we did our offseason plan, and we included it in the Brendan Donovan trade that was in our offseason plan. So perhaps the Mariners will use that pick to trade for one of the guys that Colby's going to talk about today. So floor is yours, my friend.
Oh, you friend.
It's a holiday season, buddy.
No, buddy. Stop. But yeah, so kind of the problem with the top 5 trade target list is that we've basically spent the last, 3 or 4 Tuesdays going over like teams the Mariners should try and trade with, and like Jorge Polanco fallbacks and all that. And those all kind of run into the same general area, which is, hey, these are players I think the Mariners would like and they should go out and try to get. And therefore, there's a lot of crossover between these names and the names that we've already talked about. So I did try to throw 1 or 2 curveballs into the top 5 just to give us some new players to talk about, or at least players we haven't spent a lot of time talking about. But yeah, they're listed 1 through 5. I really think, doesn't really matter the order all that much, but I did have some honorable mentions that, we've either talked quite a bit about or whatever. So Brandon Lowe, obviously, is.
Whoa, Brandon Lowe.
Yeah.
Never heard that name before.
I know. Jake Cronenworth.
Whoa, Jake Cronenworth. Never thought about him for the Mariners.
Alec Bohm still makes sense.
Yeah.
He's more of a leftover from last year, but he still does make sense. Garrett Cleavinger, we've talked about as both a high leverage bullpen arm that the Mariners want and a lefty, which the Mariners also want. Freddy Peralta, again, kind of only works if they trade Luis Castillo, but whatever. I throw him on the list just because. JoJo Romero is another guy that we talked about a little bit here. CJ Abrams is another guy that we've talked about some, not a ton, but yeah, like, and when we did our, divisional preview for trade targets, we talked about all these players to some degree. So yeah, I mean, again, it's not a very unique topic just because of what we've already covered. So we'll still be talking about players that we talked a lot about, but whatever, we'll just keep on plugging away because it is the off season.
That's
and
right.
We need content. So coming in at number 5 on our list, or on my list, I have Edwin Uceta, relief pitcher for the Rays. You get him for 4 years. He is Super 2. He is ARB eligible this year, but he's only scheduled to make about $1 million, 1.1 million, something like that this year. He is a righty who throws hard, gets a ton of swing and miss. Walk rates are totally fine for a reliever. He had a little bit of trouble with home runs last year, although pitching in a high A ballpark, not that surprising. So you can kind of have to give him a little bit of a pass on that one. But the reason I like Uceta so much is that A, you get him for 4 years, but B, it's the changeup that is his ultimate weapon, and that is different. We talked a little bit about this from a bullpen perspective, how similar all the Mariners relievers are. It's sinker slider for pretty much all of them. That's the bread and butter. And, it works. I'm not saying that, that it didn't work and so they need to go away from it. It just, you can add some variety to the looks. They're all from a similar arm slot. They all throw 97 to 100 with two seamers, and they all have good sliders. So let's mix in a guy who's more, four seam changeup or two seam changeup even, and let's give a different look at to Bizzardo and Brash and Munoz. And Uceta could do that, and he also misses bats, which is something this bullpen needs to do more of. So I think Uceta is a really good fit here in Seattle. I think the Rays would trade him. 4 years of club control is not something the Rays typically like to move, but it's also a bullpen arm, and the Rays are more than willing to move bullpen arms, particularly if they can get somebody they think could be an everyday player. I also think Uceta is the type of guy where trading your comp round B pick could be very appealing to a team like the Rays in particular. And we also know that the Rays and the Mariners have a really good relationship. They know each other well. So I do think that this is a good target who would absolutely help the bullpen. I think he's available. I think he's reasonably cheap in terms of, salary for what he's actually produced value. So I think it makes a good deal of sense for Seattle.
Now, my question for you, though, is do you consider Edwin Uceta a daddy?
I think he's more of a dude now. I think there is ceiling to move up to the next rung, but I would say he's better than Bizzardo right now. Probably not quite as good as Brash, and obviously Munoz is the big daddy in the Mariners bullpen right now. But yeah, I do think that he would definitely help, and obviously again, it's not just so much that you have to add a guy because you're one short. It's you kind of have to add a guy because one of these four guys who you rode into the ground last year probably going to get hurt or probably not going to be as effective as a result of their usage. Which is something Justin Hollander has already alluded to a couple times this winter. So it really is why I think the Mariners need two guys in their bullpen. And Hollander has kind of alluded to such that they would really like to add two arms, one of the high leverage variety, and they'd also like one of those two arms to be a lefty. And of course, those could both be the same guy as Garrett Cleavinger as that example. Right. So, but I still think even if they add even if the high leverage guy they add is a lefty, I still think they're going to want to go out and get a Uceta-ish level reliever to go along with it. So maybe you get Cleavinger and Uceta in the same deal. I don't know. Stranger things have happened. So I think, I think Uceta is a pretty good get.
So that wasn't where I expected you to start. So who's coming in at number 4?
Yes. A newer member of the Obsession Club or whatever we're calling them, brought up to us by a patron about last week, and the more I've dug into it, the more I really like the call. Edmundo Sosa, of the Phillies, yes. Now Alec Bohm is the everyday third baseman. Sosa is more of a part-time player, but he checks a lot of boxes that the Mariners could really use. First things first, he is a plus defender at third base and second base. And he played shortstop last year as well. And he even played a little bit of outfield. The Mariners do not have the utility man on their team right now. Right now, that job would probably go to Leo Rivas, which fine, I guess. But Sosa's got 1 year of club control left. He's going to make about $3.5 million. He fills a potential hole all across the infield. If Cole Young comes up and he's not very good, Sosa can handle that job until July, where you can go out and check. Same goes for third base. We've talked about this role. If you're going to give the young guys opportunities, you have to have a veteran who you feel confident in coming in and handling those spots if the rookies fail. So Sosa is that guy. And oh, by the way, Sosa destroys left-handed pitching. Absolutely destroys it. He's got some pop, 440 slug. The only thing he doesn't really do is he doesn't walk, like 3% walk rate last year. So again, he's not a perfect player, so he's not an everyday player. But for a team that desperately needs that safety blanket at second base, at third base in particular, for a team that really needs some thump off the bench, particularly against left-handed pitching, for a team that needs athleticism and defense added to their bench, Sosa just checks every single box. So I really like the Sosa idea. I don't know how available he's going to be, but the Phillies have problems. They need outfield help. They need catching help. They have a lot of problems, and they're kind of in a weird spot as a franchise right now. They have a bunch of guys who are going to be free agents, including Sosa. So there might be an opportunity here to either kind of pivot or, this is where like a Luke Raley or a Dominic Canzone could come into play for the Phillies, who do need a corner outfielder. And they've mentioned wanting one who hits left-handed. So I do think that there's a reasonable swap to be had there. And Sosa just checks all the boxes. Like I said, he's fast. He's a good defender. He's got power, crushes left-handed pitching, can play multiple spots, and he's only going to make about $3 million. He's Dylan Moore, only better than Dylan Moore.
I wonder if you could attach him to one of the left-handed relievers in a trade, a Strom or an Alvarado or Banks, something like that, make a little bit of a bigger deal. But yeah, Sosa leans right into what Jerry DePoto was talking about on 710, I think last week or just a few days ago when he was on, I think with Stacey, that, the more you can do, right? And being able to play multiple positions and bringing guys in that don't necessarily block, Cole Young and Colt Emerson and Ben Williamson, so they can still give those guys some runway while also protecting themselves. Sosa definitely does that.
Yeah, Sosa's arguably the best utility player in baseball. And again, he just fits perfectly what the Mariners need, from the guy who crushes lefties to the guy who can give you, a life vest at multiple positions where you plan on going with younger kids. He checks every box. So I think he's a really good fit. So good, in fact, that he made my top 5. So Edmundo, Sosa, and the Phillies in general. Keep an eye on the Phillies and the Mariners. They not natural trade partners, and Dombrowski's cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs sometimes, but he's got some guys he kind of needs to move or wants to move. He doesn't have a ton of money to go out and spend. So the Mariners and some of their cheap talent probably going to be pretty appealing to this ball club.
All right, we will get into your top 3 trade targets for the Mariners this winter in just a moment. But first, a reminder, this episode of the Locked On Mariners podcast is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast. One big play and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift, a receiver gets hot, a defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment as live spreads and money lines adjust instantly and player props update as guys heat up. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Thank you so much for making us your first listen. And also thank you for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. It's Top 5 Tuesday. Colby's going over his top 5 trade targets for the Mariners this winter. Now we're in the top 3. It's Colby who's coming in at number 3.
Yeah, it's time to get back to the oldies, but the goodies. I gave you guys 2 newish names. But some names are so obvious that they're hard to ignore.
Is it Yandy?
Context. No, not yet.
Okay.
But it is Brendan Donovan is coming in.
Ooh, so that means someone is not on this list. We'll talk about that later. Okay. Go. Brendan Donovan.
Yes. Brendan Donovan. Look, I'm tired of talking about the guy too. But he is a really good fit for the Mariners.
Yeah.
He can play second, he can play third, he can play left. He is a prototypical leadoff hitter, at least from an on-base percentage standpoint, which the Mariners could sorely use, which pushes Randy down to the 5 or the 6, depending on if they get Polo back or not. You get him for 2 years. It's a pretty good profile for T-Mobile Park. He's not a guy who relies on power. He's not a guy who relies on gap-to-gap power either. And he's incredibly consistent over the last 4 years. And, he's relatively cheap in terms of his salary. So, as annoying as it is to talk about the guy over and over and over again, and as delusional as, some Cardinals insiders are about him being worth Brian Wu, The fit is undeniable. It just is the cost going to line up? I don't know, because there's a real bidding war here. Donovan is not a guy that you go 200 cents on the dollar on. Just
you don't pay the freight for. Yeah.
No, like at the right price, Donovan is a really good fit for Seattle. Again, it just feels, or just sounds like, at least from, reputable reports from like Passan and guys like that there's a lot of teams interested. My hunch is that the Cardinals might play themselves. They might wait the market trying to get this ridiculous asking price, and then they get to January 15th or February 1st, and they still have Rodgers. They still have Donovan, and they're kind of standing there like, oh, well, because it really doesn't make sense for them to hold on to Donovan. And they can sit here and posture and be like, oh, no, we don't have to trade Donovan. It's like, yeah, you don't. But you know that the minute he plays a game for you this year, his value gets cut like in half on the trade market.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful about that. Again, I think the offer that Ty and I made in our offseason plan is very aggressive for a player like Donovan. And I think it's a fair deal. And it is probably the most I'm willing to pay for a guy like Brendan Donovan, because as good as he is, he's a 3-win player. Like, he's a 3-win player. He's not an all-star. He is solid, but he's not spectacular. He has his warts. He doesn't hit left-handed pitching all that well, which are all things you're willing to live with. It's just not something you're willing to live with if it costs you, twice what you think he's worth. He's just not that guy. So Donovan, very good player, very good fit. But if the Cardinals are going to hold out for a king's ransom, he's just not that interesting to me, because I think I can go get a close proximity to Donovan and just keep my guys, and then maybe use those assets to go get somebody else that plays a position I might have more interest in filling, or maybe just a flat out better player than Donovan, which does exist out there. Number 2, a favorite of mine, Yandy Diaz.
There we go.
I know that people really don't think that him and Randy can coexist, even though it's only for a year, because of some vague report that maybe they didn't like each other 3 years ago, or their wives didn't like each other 3 years ago.
It does seem like that is real, but it's, again, like I said last week, when he was number 1 on my list, on the fallback options list, like, just, you're professional baseball players, figure it out. Like, you've coexisted before.
For like 2 years after that incident, they were still on the Rays together. Like, you can make it work.
And also, like, again, like I said last week, like, Randy is now like part of the core. It's not the same situation as it was 2 years ago when we were first having this discussion, when they first brought him in. Like,
Randy has, he's like entrenched himself into the clubhouse. He's comfortable there. It's not like he's fighting for respect, and there's not going to be a faction.
Yeah. Like, Yandy's coming into Randy's territory.
Right. So, yeah, and Yandy Diaz is an incredible hitter. Absolutely incredible. Maybe the most underrated player, or underrated hitter, I should say, in baseball. Dude just rakes, and he's pretty much a DH only right now, but that's fine. You have that opening. He's incredibly cheap in terms of what he should be making on the market. And the Rays can posture all they want about, like, oh, we don't have to trade Lowe. Oh, we don't have to trade Diaz. But it's like, you do, because you're at best the 4th best team in that division this year. And these guys, Yandy is 34 years old. I don't care if he has 2 years of club control left. You have Aranda, you have Trey Morgan, you have these young players that you want to play first base and DH and do all these things with. And Yandy's standing in the way. You're not going to be competitive again, more than likely. During Yandy's tenure, you're going to trade him. Like, it's ridiculous to suggest that you wouldn't. And he's going to cost something because he's a really good hitter, but I'm fine paying that. Yeah. Well, what I think it'll cost, I'm fine paying that, because Diaz is a 135, 140 WRC plus bat who, doesn't hit for a ton of home runs, but has a ton of doubles, hits the ball very hard, does everything you kind of want him to do as a T-Mobile Park, hitter. And he's a right-handed hitter who provides some balance. He probably very likely would be the leadoff guy in this lineup, or he would at least be one of the guys they would consider there. And I only have to deal with him and Randy being together for a year. It's a no-brainer for me. Yandy Diaz, arguably the best hitter who could move this winter, except for, maybe somebody else who's coming up on the list.
I mean, Yandy is who some people think Luis Ariz is.
Yes.
Straight up.
Super high average. Like his batting average has punch behind it, where Luis Ariz is just his batting average is his batting average, and there's nobody's afraid of Luis Ariz coming to the plate. Nobody pitches around Luis Ariz because he can't hurt you. He really can't. Yandy Diaz can hurt you.
Yeah.
So yeah, Diaz.
Also, Luis Ariz has never gotten on base at a 400 clip.
Right.
Yandy's done that 3 times.
Yeah. So again, Yandy probably should be your leadoff hitter, but at the very worst, he's hitting 2, 3, 4 in this lineup. And again, it's full-time DH. He doesn't block anybody. You could even coexist with Polo on this roster. If Polo plays some second base pretty regularly, maybe some first base, Yandy, you can rotate those guys through. So like trading for Yandy doesn't even exclude you from going out and getting Jorge Polanco back if you so choose. So yeah, Yandy to me is highly underrated. And I think the one strike against him in the minds of many Mariner fans is highly overrated, which all coincides nicely to him being number 2 on my list.
So who's number 1? I think I have a pretty good guess.
Yeah. Number 1 is Adolis Garcia. No. Free agent who they have to trade for.
Yeah.
But no, number 1 is Juan Soto or Francisco Lindor. Apparently they are not compatible, so they should be traded and separated. My guess is Lindor is probably the guy traded, but no. Number 1 is Ketel Marte.
Yeah.
Of course it is. Of course it is. It has to be. Like, if there is the possibility that Ketel Marte is being traded this winter, and I think it's going to happen. I think that's where we're trending. I think that's where most people are eventually getting to.
It just makes no sense for the Diamondbacks to let this linger into him getting his 10-5 rights, and then trading him becomes just infinitely more complicated for them, and they're going to trade him. Yeah,
obviously you don't let this much smoke escape your facility if you're not setting the fire. Very clearly they want him out of here for whatever reason, whether it's the money, whether it is maybe some, I don't know, attitude issues, which again is weird for a team that literally gave him like 3 extensions in 8 years. It's a little weird, but whatever it is, he's the guy. He's the best hitter who's going to move this winter. He ages incredibly well. At least he appears to be. His profile ages incredibly well. He still hits the ball extremely hard. He still hits for power. He gets on base at a good amount. He's still a decent defender, and he should have no problem playing second or third base for the next couple of years. You get him for 5 years. He's not even making like real money relative to what he's actually worth for another 2 years. He's making $16 million this year, and then next year it actually goes down to 12. And then when it jumps up to the big money, it's like $20 million a year. That's nothing. Not for a player of Marte's caliber. He's the best hitter on the market. He could play 2 positions that you desperately need filled. You get him for 5 years. I don't care if he's 32. I don't care if he's making $90 million over those 5 years. That's a bargain. That is an absolute bargain. You're willing to give Josh Naylor $90 million over 5 years. Ketel Marte is significantly better than Josh Naylor. So I think it's a no-brainer to me, especially if the Diamondbacks are willing to take prospects. Like, they want a prospect-heavy package. That is even a bigger selling point. I'm not letting Ryan Sloan or Michael Arroyo or Cole Young or Laz Montes or any combination of the 3 prevent me from getting the best offensive player that will be moved, who happens to play my biggest position of need when I'm trying to win the freaking World Series this year. That's not stopping me. The money's not stopping me. Will it stop the Mariners? Probably, if I had to guess, unfortunately. But it's a no-brainer for me. It is an absolute no-brainer. Ketel Marte should be the number 1 target. Jorge Polanco should be the fallback to Ketel Marte. All these guys on the list should be the fallback to Ketel Marte. He's number 1 with a bullet. It's a no-brainer. It is an absolute no-brainer for a guy I think is going to get traded, for a guy who I think the Mariners can work a mostly prospect-heavy package out of, for a guy with club control, for a guy with production, for a guy who I believe will age very well, for a guy I believe will hit at T-Mobile Park. It's all perfect for Ketel Marte. And if any of these things weren't true, like if the money wasn't as big of a problem, if the years wasn't as big of a problem, the Diamondbacks would not even be entertaining trading him. So it's a no-brainer. Ketel Marte is the guy that you target this winter.
Absolutely. 100%. So no Scooble. I mean, like, I get it. I get why, but like, I kind of felt like it would still be on there.
It's just, I just don't think the Mariners are that team.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look at, should they be interested? Yes, of course. Is there a scenario where maybe they could get him? Sure, but it involves trading Luis Castillo. You'll notice there were no starting pitchers on my top 5.
Yeah.
So, is there a scenario where they trade Luis, maybe in the Scooble deal, and they kind of work it that way? Sure, but when I think of Scooble, I go, the Red Sox are better positioned to get him. The Mets are better positioned to get him. They're better positioned to sign him to an extension. The Mariners certainly could if they wanted to, but we know they won't. So, so I just added up all those factors, and it's just like, look, Scooble, love to have him. I just don't think it's realistic enough for us to spend that much time on, unfortunately. But it would be awesome. It'd be awesome if they got him, that's for sure. And maybe, just maybe, the estimated price is being overhyped a little bit, as it sometimes can be. But I just think, if the Tigers really want young pitching, I think it's pretty much dead on arrival there from the Mariners' perspective, because they're not giving up George Kirby. They're not giving up Gilbert. They're not giving up Wu or Miller. And I don't think that Kate Anderson or Durangelo St. Joe or Ryan Sloan is the type of arm that the Tigers are looking for. I think the Tigers are looking for Nolan McLean, or Jonah Tong. Like, they're looking for that type of guy. The Mariners just don't have that guy. Yeah, the Mariners just don't have that guy yet. They might next year, but not this winter.
And you're listening to the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. As always, if you want to hear from me and Colby even more and help support the show, we have a Patreon. It's called Control the Zone, and on there we talk Mariners, Seahawks, all that good stuff. For more information, go to patreon.com/Control the Zone. Link in the description of this episode. So there you have it on Colby's top 5 trade targets for the Mariners this winter. Now it's my turn here on Top 5 Tuesday. I spun the Ed Helms yesterday on Mailbag Monday and landed on top 5 bullpen entrances in Major League Baseball. So there were a couple ways that I could have gone about this. I could have done strictly closer entrances. I could have done all time. I decided to go with just current bullpen entrances, because, like, if I did all time, that'd be pretty straightforward. It'd be kind of boring. It'd be Mariano. It'd be Trevor Hoffman with Hell's Bells. It'd be, Edwin Diaz, Yohan Duran, which, spoiler alert, those guys are going to be on this list. But yeah, so I decided to go more modern, and that was a little bit of a mistake because honestly, I'm like aware of about 5 bullpen entrances in today's game that actually stand out, that are not just music, right? And either there aren't a ton around the league, or they're just not well documented, because I tried to do some research on this and I couldn't really find many that I wasn't aware of. So admittedly, this is probably not going to be, the definitive top 5 bullpen entrance list. Maybe it will be, I don't know. Again, I really could only find so many of these things on the internet trying to do research. So maybe this is the 5 best bullpen entrances in baseball. But yeah, I don't have any honorable mentions because of that. So we're just going to get right into the top 5. Starting with number 5, got a couple Mariners on here. The first one is Andres Munoz. The big reason that it lands on this list is that the crowd gets into singing the song Pepa y Agua Pala Seca. It's super catchy. The whole crowd gets into it. It's dope. I love that. Mm-hmm. Number 4, another Mariner, Matt Brash, Fireman. Got Fireman by Lil Wayne playing. They go way harder for Matt Brash's entrance than they do for Mooney's, frankly. Like, they got the lights going around the stadium, the siren going off. They have a spotlight on Matt as he walks to the mound or as he jogs to the mound. Like, it goes way harder than Mooney's entrance, at least from the clips that I saw. And again, I haven't been to T-Mobile Park since I was 12 years old. So these, I have to experience these on clips that I've seen.
Yeah. How about that?
Yeah.
No reason for Ty to come to Seattle, apparently. But yeah, I don't know. I guess that kind of fits though, because like Munoz is so quiet that like
Sure.
I mean, I guess Brash is pretty quiet too, though. So
Brash is pretty quiet, yeah.
Yeah. But can we come up with a new nickname for the bullpen, by the way?
You don't like Barrows?
No. Like I get what they're going for, but it's just like the firemen. Like it's kind of lame, honestly. It's.
I like the nickname specifically for Matt Brash. He really is the fireman, because like we've talked about this. If you need a strikeout, who are you going to? Like if it's bases loaded, 1 out, you need a strikeout, you are going to Matt Brash.
Sure, just also sometimes Brash carries a can of gasoline with him. So fireman, fire starter.
Oh no, I accidentally put gasoline in the water tank.
Yeah. It's he mostly gets it right. Right, to be fair. But I don't know. I'm not wild about the nickname. Like, has there ever been a good nickname for an entire bullpen? Like I can't think of like there's no like Monsters of the Midway or the Purple People Eaters or the Steel Curtain.
Legion of Boom.
Yeah, there's none of that for like nobody's come up with that for a bullpen. And if you're going to come up with it for a unit, like it would probably be a bullpen unit in baseball. So I don't know.
Coming up next week on Top 5 Tuesday, top 5 bullpen nicknames.
Yes. The Arm Barn.
Yeah. No, there's just like, I looked this up. There's like nicknames for, specific pitchers, obviously.
Yeah. Like relievers. Sure,
like, I don't
an entire bullpen.
Yeah, I don't know. Are we tripping? Let us know in the comments. Like, are we missing something here?
Is there a Legion of Boom or a Steel Curtain?
Did we just like completely like
for an elite bullpen?
So, sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, I don't remember that, and then like I get off the show and I'm like, oh yeah, that thing. Like what?
Maybe.
So yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're being stupid right now, but yeah, let us know in the comments below. You love to let us know when we're being stupid.
Like in hockey, they have like names for the lines, the different line changes. So like,
sure,
it's not like unheard of in other sports to have like a specific nickname for a group of players, not just an individual player. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe it's just not a baseball thing for any group. But I mean, I guess like the $1 million infield way back in the 1910s, the Philadelphia Athletics. Like I guess that was a thing. The core 4, I guess. For the Yankees, kind of, but like that wasn't for a unit. That was just for 4 individual players. So whatever. Let us know. Anyways, number 3.
Yeah. So coming in at number 3 is Yandy, whose entrance went super viral once he was traded to Philly because they made it even better than it was in Minnesota.
Pretty good in Minnesota.
Yeah, it was pretty good in Minnesota too, but they made it even better in Philly. They cut out the lights. They got the bells going. And then the fire graphics and the spider like crawling around and all that, and the crowd gets into the song. It's really cool. It's like, and especially like the first time they played it and he comes out and he has a 4-pitch save, like sick. That's super sick. And I'm very salty that the Mariners didn't get that trade across, because
they really thought
there would have been 3 Mariners on this list today.
They really thought they had it.
Yeah. Coming in at number 2 is one that I'm not sure how many people are familiar with, because I couldn't even really find much about it online, but it's one that I've experienced in person multiple times over at the Rogers Center this year. It's Jeff Hoffman's bullpen entrance, which is crazy because Jeff Hoffman didn't have a particularly good year, but he has a sick entrance. And it combines like 2 of my favorite things, Marvel and Kid Cudi. He has one of the best Cudi songs ever, which is Alive from Man on the Moon 1. And his whole thing is like Thanos, right? So he's on the big screen in the middle in center field, looking like Thanos. And on the video boards around the stadium, the Infinity Stones like circle around. It's super dope. And it's super colorful, and everyone turns their phone lights on. It's really cool to be in the middle of. It's a dope intro.
Yeah, Thanos, famous for winning every time. It's like naming your defense the Red Sea.
It got parted. It got parted
right down the middle.
Yeah, no wonder they haven't won anything. Coming in at number 1, this is obvious. It's Edwin Diaz. It's Timmy Trumpet. Yep. Do I need to say anything more? Like,
is it Timmy? I thought it was Tommy.
No, it's Timmy. It's Timmy Trumpet. I always thought it was Tommy Trumpet too, but yeah,
it's iconic.
It's like, what is the song called? Narco.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
it is probably, I would say, argue the second most iconic closer entrance in history, behind only Mariano. So yeah. And Mariano didn't even pitch really in an era where they had like the special light show. It was just the aura and the vibe of him entering the game that really sold that thing. So like, yeah.
Speaking of like classic ones, I know people are going to be like, where's Brian Helsley's? Brian Helsley basically does Trevor Hoffman's. It's Hell's Bells. And I get it. Helsley, Hell's Bells. I understand. Like, it fits him pretty well, but still, like, it's basically Trevor Hoffman's entrance. So I didn't put it on there.
Yeah. But my favorite closer entrance, and again, it wasn't even like in the era where they did big productions for it. JJ Putz used to come onto the field to Thunderstruck.
Yeah.
By AC/DC, and that was awesome because like they'd like cut the lights when the lightning hit or whatever, and they're like, oh, that's cool. And I just think now, like, man, what if they had the LEDs and the 90-foot scoreboard and like all the stuff they can do? Fernando Rodney's too. That one's always fun for me.
By the way, Fernando Rodney for the top 50 Mariners of all time.
We're going to be talking about that later this week because there's no way the Mariners are giving us enough content not to talk about that this week.
Maybe
tomorrow even.
Yeah, we might be filling out our top 50 Mariners ballot on the show here in the next day or two. So look forward to that. But there you go. That's my top 5 bullpen entrances. Again, there weren't many for me to personally choose from.
There's not like an archive out there. What is Mason Miller's? How is Mason Miller not in the top 5? Like, if it was any good, we would see it. Like,
I saw his from San Diego, and it's not really much of anything. Like I searched up like some of the best relievers in baseball. I was just like, Abner Uribe bullpen entrance. Like, type that into YouTube. Nothing came up. Mason Miller bullpen entrance. Like, a YouTube short came up and it sucked. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe his is actually solid and the video I watched just sucks, but
you can't do bullpen entrances at day games. They just don't work in daylight.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Unless you got the roof closed. Yeah,
they work okay with the roof closed, but like no, it's.
By the way, I would say that specifically about Jeff Hoffman's. Like that does not work at all when the roof is open. But when the roof is closed, it's great. It's sick.
There you go.
So it has to be a very specific setting as well. But yeah, there you go. Top 5 bullpen entrances. All right, let's get out of here. That's going to do it for our show. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Locked On Mariners podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. For Colby Patnode, I'm Tidy Gonzalez. Be sure to give us a follow on Twitter at @LO_Mariners. You can follow me at Tidy Gonzalez and Colby at CPAT11. That's CPAT11. We're also on Blue Sky. You can follow me at TDG, Colby at MLB Colby, and the show at Locked On Mariners. You can also find us on Instagram at Locked On Mariners. Have yourself a beautiful baseball day, and we'll see you next time. Peace.